As always, Ted, kick us off. Who do you have as your winner of the weekend?
I had to go with the Spaniard Alcaraz knocking off Novak Djokovic in the finals, Wimbledon. Djokovic was going to be only the third male to win 5 straight Wimbledon titles. Not so fast. Alcaraz knocked him off. Young dude on the come up, was a 1 seed, and it looked like early on he was a bit shell shocked by
That first set?
being 6-1. Looked like Djokovic was going to roll, but from that point on, he found it, and you could tell he had more snap. He had Djokovic on defense the entire time. Was a really good match. Went all the way. How long was the total time there? It felt like forever.
It had to be. So I ate breakfast. We were watching it as we were eating breakfast. We went out on the boat. I fell off a wake surfboard a bunch of times. Got up some, but fell off a bunch of times. Was able to come back, eat lunch, did like a Pilates and yoga routine in front of the TV, and it still wasn't over. It was insane. It lasted almost 5 hours. It was crazy.
Highly competitive. Came down to that last game there. It was really impressive. What can you say? Djokovic is still playing really well. Feels like he's been doing it forever now. And see a young kid come in and knock him off. That's what you want, though, to keep the sport progressing.
Yeah, he is. I mean, the quickness,
Good
the
serve.
speed, some of the drop shots. I was like,
Yeah.
come on, young fella. And remember, what is he, 20 years old? I was like, come on, young fella. You can't be making the old man run to the net like that. That's rude. That's disrespectful.
I felt like every time I looked up, Djokovic was getting up off the grass, because he was diving for balls and slipping, trying to chase things down, and he had him running all over the place. It was really impressive. Fun
Yeah.
to watch too. Crowd was great. I mean, Djokovic got all pissed off and slammed a racket and got booed. It was awesome.
Clearly Alcaraz is going to be an absolute star if he can stay healthy throughout his career. I mean, the fact that he won that U.S. Open a year ago as a teenager, technically,
Yeah.
right? So you're winning Wimbledon at 20. You're beating who I believe is the best to ever do it, and the sky's the limit for that dude. I mean, it absolutely is. But
Yep.
did you watch the speeches after the match?
No. As soon as it was over and they had their little hug at the net, I was done.
I was absolutely dialed into it. Djokovic is Djokovic. I'm starting to blend him and the basketball player.
Yeah.
Yeah. Djokovic. His speech after the match was so damn good. I mean, it had everything. He showered Alcaraz with praise, a little self-deprecating, some really good jokes that landed, teared up at one point. I mean, you talk about as good of a second place speech you're ever going to hear. He absolutely crushed it. And as I was watching it with my wife's uncle, and we both were like, why does everyone not like this guy? Like, this is fantastic.
I don't know.
It was really good, dude.
Is he not liked?
I
I've always liked him. He
I
kind of does have a demeanor to where he looks like
He's
he would be a
Serbian.
jerk. Yeah.
That's
Looks
kind of just
angry.
how they look, you know?
Right.
But just hearing him and his presence on the mic, and clearly the guy is, I mean, he's been there, right? He's been on the
Yeah.
biggest stages in the sport, right? He is who he is. But I mean, he was working the crowd. It was a fantastic speech.
It was good. I
And
could tell that he was, whenever they went to the net afterwards, he was very like congratulatory and smiling, and there was no I lost it. It was all you won it,
yeah,
and that's not always the case.
yeah. No, he could not have been more complimentary to Alcaraz in his speech afterwards. And Alcaraz's speech was great too. I mean, he's great. That guy is going to be an absolute star. Now, Now, maybe you don't change anything, but maybe we could, trim the neck up a little bit for the Wimbledon final, maybe get the beard looking a little more lined up, or maybe all he focuses on is on tennis, and that's why he is who he is. So maybe, hey, don't worry about the appearance at all. It was a little unkempt, just a little. He is 20, though.
Let me ask you, if you started off, how long is the entire Wimbledon tournament?
2 weeks.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, it's a long time.
If you started off day one, totally freshly shaved, everything was, you showed up day one looking perfect, and you're there for the tournament and you don't get a haircut, you don't shave, you don't do anything the entire time you're there, what would you look like at the end of 2 weeks?
My hair would look fine, right? Because I would plan it out, right? I would plan out the haircut. I would have the haircut before I got there,
Right.
The beard would look great. You know that. Like
it would. Because I think that's
it doesn't take a long time to line it up, dude, around the neck area. Like, it just doesn't.
It's like a hockey playoff beard. You don't touch it.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'd have an intense, like there'd be a lot going on for sure.
Yeah.
You think he's that superstitious at 20?
I don't know.
Elite athletes are usually weirdos like that. So yeah,
I would say at 20, it's just more likely that he doesn't care or didn't think about it or is too lazy.
Well,
or the amount of time that he had to, like, his downtime was spent playing Fortnite and not touching up on the grooming.
Well, now that he is the number one player in the world, right, which he was coming into the tournament and just won Wimbledon, I don't know if he has a publicist,
his
manager, his people, or maybe be like, hey, Carlos, let's just we're trying to get all these sponsors. Let's try to just clean it up a little bit,
Yeah. It is one of those things too, though, and some people can master this. Look bad often enough to where whenever you do get all nice and cleaned up, it's like, whoa, look at this guy. He's looking sharp. Maybe he's doing some of that, but I think that moment would maybe be at the Wimbledon final whenever you want to.
That's what I'm saying.
Pop like that.
That's what I'm saying. All right, that was an awesome match, though. One of the best tennis matches I've watched in a really long time. And did you watch any of the women's? Not to go down the rabbit hole, but did you see, what was it, Vondrousova, something like that? Unseeded, wins the whole thing. That was crazy. I watched quite a bit of that too.
That's crazy. I did not see any of that, but they were talking about it. That's
Ons Javert just can't get it done in a final, man.
Yeah. I don't even know what the equivalent to that is. Like,
ooh, you know what you need to do? Drive to Survive, Formula One?
Yeah.
On Netflix, there's a tennis version called Breakpoint that my wife and I started watching. Really good.
Have you started watching the quarterback thing?
I haven't watched it yet, but I've heard good things.
Yeah. Yeah. I've got plenty of stuff I need to get to.
Absolutely. All right. Who do you have as your loser of the weekend?
Man, I got to tell you, it's Georgia. It's piling up.
Yep.
So we've continued to hear the narrative about all of the driving issues that they've had. Everyone obviously knows about the tragedy there after the national championship celebration. Well, now Victoria Bowles, who was a survivor of one of the car crashes, she was in the actual car, the car that wrecked. She's suing the University of Georgia, and she's suing the Jalen Carter, the player that was allegedly driving the other SUV that they were racing. I don't know she's saying that there's a lot of discrepancies and that the University of Georgia is lying, saying that, I guess they said that the other girl that was driving should not have been driving, but I guess in her suit, she's alleging that there's a bunch of text messages and communications with the athletic department saying that she had the vehicle until the next day. And I don't know. It's just not to get into, I don't know the legality and all that situation. It's just a more bad look, right?
Yeah.
And more stuff that they have to fight off. And it's been a lot over the last 6-7 months or so that they've had to deal with. And, it doesn't appear to be hurting them on the recruiting trail right now, but if these things keep popping up at some point, it's either going to start to hurt them in recruiting or it's going to become a distraction to the football team in some way, shape, or form.
Right. That's clearly, college football players at other schools make stupid choices as well. Right. But you're the back-to-back national champs. You are in the spotlight. You are under the magnifying glass. Right. And as these things happen, man, yeah, that reputation starts to build a little bit. And now, as long as they continue to put guys into the NFL and win a bunch of football games, I mean, it may sound bad. I'm not sure the other stuff really matters that much in the eyes of some recruits and their parents, but yeah, it's just, you're Kirby Smart. There's already enough to deal with as a college football coach with how all of it works now. The fact that you're having to fight against this and to deal with the legal ramifications of it, it's got to be a huge pain in the ass, man.
Yeah. Not good. The whole situation is bad enough to begin with, but
right.
Just talking about like what it means for their football program. Maybe it means nothing if they don't have any other issues and, they continue to go out there, play really good football. Like this doesn't turn into something, but this has moved a really big magnifying glass, which, you win 2 national championships, there's already going to be a big magnifying glass starting to show up, but you have a couple of little cracks in the facade and some things showing up and people start talking and the newspapers have a reason to start digging around. And it doesn't take long for everyone to become, you just carry that burden around with you of what all's happening. And, maybe it doesn't mean anything, but maybe it takes away from your focus. Maybe it takes away from what you've always done is just go out and win football games. Now you're giving depositions and what did you know? And like, what are you allowing? And it digging into your text messages and your communications. It's just becomes something that I know that they don't want to deal with right now. So I don't know. I'm not picking Georgia as a national championship this year, and it doesn't have anything to do with this, but at some point, you got to wonder, is this the fuse that's been lit to kind of bring it all down?
Yeah, we'll see. All right, let's get to my winner and loser. But first,
John Vance Auto Group has been serving Oklahomans for 40 years, family owned and operated. They've got 9 full service dealerships in Woodward, Miami, and Guthrie. No matter what your vehicle needs are, John Vance Auto Group has you covered. They carry domestic brands such as Ford, Lincoln, Chevy, Buick, GMC, Chrysler, Dodge, Ram, Jeep, and Wagoneer. John Vance Auto Group's goal is to give unequaled service and to exceed customers' expectations in every way, which is why they have their lifetime loyalty program. And here's how it works. You buy a new or used car from them, then all you have to do is get all of the manufacturer recommended maintenance done at the Vance dealership. And if something goes wrong with the components of your engine, transmission, drive axle, or transfer unit, they will cover the repair costs. It's a great deal. You can browse their entire inventory or find the John Vance dealership near you at vanceautogroup.com.
And First Fidelity Bank is a full-service financial institution based in Oklahoma with tailored solutions for all your personal and business needs. Checking accounts, saving accounts, home loans, and much more. They do it all. Whether it's online banking from your computer or mobile banking from your phone, everything is stress-free with FFB. Making mobile deposits, paying bills online, and moving money to different accounts could not be easier. Ladies and gentlemen, make your life easier and go bank with First Fidelity Bank. Visit ffb.com for more information. All right, for my winner of the weekend, thought about going with Sabrina Ionescu. WNBA All-Star Weekend this weekend. She won the three-point contest, set an all-time WNBA or NBA record in the three-point contest with 37 points. Happened in the final round. Ted, she hit 25 of 27 threes, and she hit 20 in a row. It was insane.
That's crazy. Wow. 20 in a row. That's impressive. 37 points. Fine. Do it in the final round too, which is really cool. That's awesome.
No, it was crazy to watch. That was she put on an absolute show. But my winner of the weekend, Josh Heupel and the Tennessee Volunteers. Little slap on the wrist for all the transgressions that Jeremy Pruitt did there as his time as he was the head coach. And remember, when Heupel took the job, the Pruitt stuff, like that had all just gone down. The school essentially had outed itself. And, you know, Heupel really didn't know what that punishment was going to look like when it got delivered. And it's here. The NCAA Infractions Committee came down, $8 million fine, some scholarship losses, which are not insignificant, but they're able to kind of smooth it over several years. Got a reduction in visits, limits on recruiting contacts. They got to vacate wins, but no bowl ban. So no postseason ban, which is a huge win for Josh Heupel and a huge win for that program, especially coming off the season that they had a year ago. So nothing in the punishment that will really significantly affect the current or future players in that program, which you and I have talked about. That's how we feel it should be. But this feels like a big win for Heupel and for that program, especially since there were 200 individual infractions in the report. I don't even know what to say. But this thing is no longer hanging over them like it was. And I'm sure Hype is very excited to just get to move on.
Yeah. I read some of the breakdown, and I guess Jeremy Pruitt and his wife Casey were themselves making cash payments to players' families. That's wild, man.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But hey, and Pruitt got a 6-year show cause. And I believe I read this correctly. If he gets hired by a school, like he's automatically suspended for the first year. So I don't think we're gonna see him in college coaching anytime soon. But you look at what Tennessee's done with their collective. I got a feeling they're going to be able to manipulate some things to where, you know, those scholarship reductions, they'll be able to have guys that they may be walk-ons, but they won't be paying for school, if I had to guess. So it'll be interesting to see how they navigate that, right? And that's not against the rules by any means now, but the other thought I had is, man, Mike Boynton and Oklahoma State basketball, they just have to be so mad.
Oh my god.
They did like one thing wrong and got banned from the NCAA tournament. And Tennessee had 200 infractions. And they're like, no, you guys can play in your bowl game. It's fine. It's crazy, insane.
Man. It's crazy. How I mean, I guess maybe Tennessee went along with this, and you know, they outed themselves, and then I guess they worked at the NCAA, but I don't know. The precedent in my mind has been set that it doesn't matter what you did and how guilty you are, you do not go along with the NCAA at all. You just delay.
Now, in the report, the NCAA was like, oh, Tennessee cooperated so well. That's why they're not getting hammered. That's exactly what Oklahoma State did, and they got the NCAA tournament ban. It has to be so infuriating.
It has to be.
It's got to be so infuriating. All right. For my loser of the week, I went back and forth, but I thought about going. I thought about going with Robert McIntyre, right? If you were watching, there was a lot of sports this weekend, by the way, but the Scottish Open, right? We've got the Open next week. Scottish Open always leads into it, but Robert McIntyre is the guy that is from Scotland, and he looked like he was going to win the Scottish Open, right? Hit just an incredible 3-wood out of the rough. into a massive win on 18 to set himself up for a birdie, and he takes a one-shot lead into the clubhouse. But Rory McIlroy, man, just too good. Birdie 17 to tie for the lead, and then on 18 hits just an absolutely ridiculous cut 2-iron into just like a monsoon right. Wind. And then it was, 8 to 10 feet, the putt. It was not an easy putt, and makes it. So he goes birdie on 17, birdie on 18 to win the tournament. I really felt for Robert McIntyre. It's like they cut to him, and it was like he just had his soul ripped out of his body. I felt so bad.
What are you going to do? I mean, when you're standing there watching and you've got the lead, I guess they would have been tied at that point, right? But a guy's got a 2-iron into a win. You've got to feel pretty, I mean, if of all the clubs to pick in someone's bag that you want them hitting at that, it's probably the 2-iron, right?
Yeah. He just nailed it. It was unbelievable.
Did you see him hit the persimmon driver early in the week?
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. That was pretty cool.
But I ultimately ended up I thought about going with Tony Romo because he was the defending champ there at the American Century Championship and didn't seem to play overly well for him. But I'm just going with every athlete that was there that's not Steph Curry. Man stole the show. Dude, he absolutely stole the show. He's the best shooter ever. He's the best shooter in the history of basketball. And the guy's awesome at golf, too. Just eagled 18 to win the tournament. So he is your American Century championship champion. I think I
had a hole in one too, right?
That's what I'm saying. Like the hole in one in the celebration, like him just run it all the way down there. It just absolutely. It is a field of famous people and a bunch of hyper competitive people because a bunch of them are former athletes, and he absolutely stole the show. And he's still playing basketball. Like he's an annoyingly good athlete.
Yeah. I feel like there's quite a bit of carryover from, I'm not saying it's like the same movement as shooting a basketball, but clearly he is proficient in replicating the same exact movement over and over, right?
Yeah.
So, and the fact that he's a basketball player, but he's not 6'10" with and having to go golf with that type of frame, it actually, I guess, sets up real well for him, as clearly he's good at it.
He's annoyingly good, and he holds his follow through way too long. I mean, but hey, it's working, man. It's working. I know when he hit the hole in one, I was watching it live. It was awesome. I mean, it was awesome, but there was part of me that was really, the guy's good enough at one thing, right? He's good enough at one thing, but hey,
the 7 times a year that I hit a really good shot, just like I want to, I mean, I make the perfect contact. The ball does exactly what I envisioned it was going to. I hold that follow through as well. I sit there and stare at it 7 times a year.
7 times a year. Fair enough. Congrats to Steph Curry. You're awesome at golf too. Good for you.